In Season 1 of Elite, 3 working-class students, Samu, Nadia, and Christian, are transferred to the elite private school Las Encinas after their old school collapses. The trio quickly struggle with fitting in at the new school, as they are ostracized by their wealthy classmates. While Samu becomes the target of bullying from a new classmate named Guzmán, he also develops a relationship with Guzmán's sister Marina, but that relationship and the new trio's time at Las Encinas will only get worse, as flash forwards reveal that Marina will soon be murdered. In the present, Christian befriends the principal's son Ender and helps him buy drugs from Nadia's sister Omar. Ender and Omar then develop their own romantic relationship, inspiring the closeted Ender to finally come out to his friends and family. Meanwhile, Christian quickly becomes enamored with a classmate named Carla, who has been in a years-long relationship with her boyfriend Polo. Feeling a mutual attraction to Christian, the 3 classmates enter into a polyamorous relationship. At Las Encinas, Nadia is subjected to Islamophobia by her classmates and teachers. Despite this, she thrives academically, putting her in the crosshairs of Lou, Las Encinas' top academic and most popular student. Wanting to win the year-ending academic trophy, Lou convinces her boyfriend Guzmán to make Nadia fall in love with him and then break her heart, in the hopes of distracting her and crushing her spirit. But Lou's plan is complicated when Guzmán actually falls in love with Nadia and wishes to pursue a relationship with her. Samu's burgeoning relationship with Marina is complicated when his older brother Nano is released from prison. Nano owes some very dangerous gangsters a lot of money, and he attempts to blackmail Marina's wealthy family to pay his debts. This scheme inadvertently grows Nano and Marina closer, and they wind up having sex. Unaware of this, Samu confesses his love to Marina, while she reveals to him that she is HIV positive. Although Samu and Marina officially begin to date, Marina continues dating Nano in secret, and encourages him to steal a set of expensive watches from Carla's father. Marina then discovers that she is pregnant with Nano's baby, and the two decide to use the money they'll make from the stolen watches to run away together. Unfortunately, one of those watches contains a USB drive full of evidence that the construction company was at fault for the collapse of Samu's previous school. As Marina bests both Nadia and Lou to win the academic trophy, her celebration is cut short by Polo, who hopes to retrieve the watches back for Carla. During their confrontation, Polo strikes Marina on the head with her trophy, killing her. Carla and Christian help Polo cover up the murder, and when Nano is discovered by the police to be the father of Marina's unborn baby, he becomes the prime suspect and is arrested. You know what's more elite than Las Encinas? This video's sponsor, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that delivers a box of awesome filled with top-shelf goods from under-the-radar brands. It's free to join, and you can skip a month or cancel at any time. 90% of their products come from small brands, many of which are located right here in the US, like the Terra Knife, which is made by Bare Bones, who are based in Salt Lake City. Every month, Bespoke Post introduces their members to a bunch of really awesome new products, from outdoor gear, barware, clothing, home and kitchen goods, and more. You just fill out a quick preference quiz and they'll send you the perfect items to fit your needs and lifestyle. Every box contains around $70 worth of value, but with Bespoke Post, you'll only pay a fraction of that. Plus, you can preview your box before it's shipped, so you can decide whether or not you want to keep that box and have it delivered, swap it out with a different box, or just skip the month entirely for no charge. With Bespoke Post, you only pay for what you want. So far, I've received the Bullseye box, which comes with a set of throwing knives, a sheath, and a target. I've had way too much fun with this box, and I've gotten pretty good. And to top it all off, I've tried the Dram box, which comes with 2 whiskey glasses, some ice ball molds, some old-fashioned mixer, and a book on whiskey that makes me feel like an expert after reading. I mean, seriously, I feel like I'm freaking Don Draper all of a sudden. So to get 20% off your first box of awesome, click the link in the description and use code RECAP20 at checkout, or just go to bespokepost.com/recap20. Thanks so much to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the recap. In Season 2 of Elite, flash forwards reveal that Samu has gone missing and may have been murdered in his quest to uncover the truth behind Marina's death. In the present, Christian feels guilty for his involvement in the cover-up and attempts to tell the truth to the police. To stop this, Carla's father orchestrates Christian getting into a horrific car accident, then sends him to Switzerland for surgery and rehabilitation. Suspicious of Christian's accident, Samu begins his investigation by seducing Carla in the hopes of getting answers from her. Despite starting as a manipulation tactic, Samu soon develops real feelings for Carla as they continue their romance in secret. Meanwhile, Polo and Onder have a drunken hookup, leading to Polo confessing to Onder that he is in fact the murderer. Onder is shocked by this revelation and keeps it a secret from his best friend Guzmán and his boyfriend Omar. Omar meanwhile moves out from under his family's oppressive rules and is for the first time able to be openly gay and express himself. 3 new students arrive at Las Encinas to complicate things even more for the other students. Cayetana is a poor housekeeper's daughter who lies about her financial status and claims to be a wealthy socialite. She begins a relationship with Polo, who is the only student at Las Encinas who shows her kindness after her secret is exposed. Rebecca is the daughter of a drug dealer who helps Samu start selling drugs in order to afford to pay his brother Nano's bail. Rebecca develops feelings for Samu as their business partnership continues, but she is devastated upon learning of his romance with Carla. Valerio is the half-brother of Lou, returning home after spending time away in boarding school. Lou and Valerio have long had an incestuous relationship, which Valerio hopes to rekindle. And so he orchestrates Guzmán breaking up with Lou to be with Nadia, leaving Lou all to Valerio. As the season comes to a close, it's revealed that Samu hadn't been kidnapped or murdered, but had instead gone into hiding with the help of Guzmán. Fearing her father was involved in Samu's disappearance, Carla confesses the truth of Marina's murder to the police. Samu comes out of hiding and reveals his scheme to Carla, who refuses to accept his apology and breaks up with him. Polo is arrested for Marina's murder, but is unfortunately released from custody after the police can't find the murder weapon to corroborate the confession. And it just so happens that Cayetana found and hid the murder weapon in order to protect her new boyfriend. In Season 3 of Elite, flash forwards reveal that Polo will soon be facing justice, as he is murdered at a nightclub and everyone is a suspect. In the present, Carla is pressured by her father to retract her confession, meaning Polo is fully exonerated for Marina's murder, and Nano is once again the primary suspect, forcing him to flee. When Lou and Valerio's father discovers their incestuous relationship, he blames Valerio and kicks his son out of their family home. Lou is devastated by this and confesses her continued love for Valerio, sharing responsibility for their romance. This causes Lou to be disowned from their family's fortune, putting her financial future in jeopardy. Through this turmoil, Lou develops a friendship with the former target of her ire, Nadia. The two bond over their financial struggles and the uncertainty of affording college. The two supportively compete for a scholarship backed by Polo's parents, which Nadia eventually wins. Appreciative of her newfound friendship with Lou, Nadia splits the scholarship with her, and the two make plans to attend school in New York City together. As Nadia and Guzmán continue their relationship, Nadia's family continue to disapprove. When a fellow Muslim named Malik takes an interest in Nadia, her family is much more supportive. Torn between two loving suitors, Nadia ultimately breaks up with Guzmán to be with Malik. Onder and Omar continue their relationship, but when Onder discovers that he has testicular cancer and will need to undergo intense chemotherapy, Onder pulls away from Omar to spare him the grief and burden. This leads to Omar cheating on Onder with his sister's boyfriend Malik, who is secretly gay. Meanwhile, Polo's life at Las Encinas is made a living nightmare by the other students, due to the open secret of him being a murderer. Samu and Guzmán orchestrate fake social media profiles to further ruin Polo's reputation, and Guzmán even tortures the killer in the hopes of scoring a new confession to Marina's murder. As Polo's parents contemplate sending him to another school to avoid harassment, Cayetana secretly sabotages all of his options in an effort to keep her boyfriend close to her. Samu attempts to reconcile with Carla, but she pushes him away out of fear for what her father might do to her love. In turn, Samu grows closer to Rebecca, and the two finally begin to date. Things become complicated for Samu when the police offer him a deal to obtain evidence to use against Rebecca's mother in exchange for Nano's freedom. Samu reluctantly complies, leading to the arrest of Rebecca's mother. Unfortunately, Samu discovers that he has been tricked by the police, who were were only using him to uncover Nano's location. Rebecca's mother is then released from prison, and Rebecca begs her to stop selling drugs. Still hurt over the ending of her relationship with Samu, Carla is pressured by her father to begin dating a wealthy new student named Ure, who he hopes can save his struggling winery with a wealthy investment. Forced into this new relationship, Carla falls into a drug addiction. Sympathetic to Carla's struggles, Ure decides to invest in her father's winery but names her as the new owner. As the last day of school approaches, Polo's parents use their power to have Rebecca and Valerio expelled for selling drugs on campus, while Samu and Guzmán are expelled for bullying Polo. During their graduation speech, Lou and Nadia decide to stand up for their friends and publicly call out Polo's family using their wealth to protect their son from any consequences for his actions. In response, Polo's parents revoke the scholarship. The season ends at a graduation party at a nightclub, where Polo is ready to confess his crimes and attempt to make amends with his former friends. Unfortunately, a drunk and angry Lou confronts Polo before he has a chance to confess and accidentally stabs him with a broken champagne bottle, leading to him falling off a balcony to his death. All of Lou's friends decide to help cover up the accidental death and finally put the past behind them. In the end, Lou and Nadia have their scholarship reinstated and head off to New York with Malik, with Nadia and Guzmán affirming their continued love for each other. Carla places Valerio in charge of her new winery, giving her the freedom to escape her family and study abroad. Cayetana accepts her financial status and becomes Las Encinas' new cleaning lady. Ander enters remission from his cancer and reconciles with Omar, and the two prepare to attend Las Encinas for their final year, alongside the reinstated Rebecca, Guzmán, and Samu. Season 4 of the Netflix series Elite sees a lot of changes for the students of Las Encinas Secondary School. A new principal named Benjamin Comerford is placed in charge of the school, who hopes to turn things around after several years of drama. He brings along his 3 children, Ari, Patrick, and Mencia, who attend the school as new students. And in the series' signature flash forwards, we see that in the future Ari is found beaten to near death. In the present, one of Benjamin's first big shakeups to the school is targeting students attending on scholarships, meaning if Samu and Omar wanted to stick around, they needed to pass an entrance exam. To help his friends, Guzmán asks Ari on a date despite currently being in a long-distance relationship with Nadia, in the hopes of having Ari convince her father to stop the entrance exam. Benjamin forces Samu and Omar to take the exam anyway, but fortunately they both pass. When Ari discovers that Guzmán had just been using her to help his friends, she is upset and begins sleeping with Samu. Guzmán and Nadia mutually decide to end their relationship, and Guzmán realizes he had genuine feelings for Ari. Guzmán and Ari begin to date, but Ari continues to pursue her feelings for Samu in secret, despite feeling that Samu was beneath her. Throughout the season, Ari juggles a relationship with both men, leading to her eventually sitting down with both Guzmán and Samu to tell them both she loves them and wants to pursue a relationship with them both. Guzmán and Samu both leave angrily, and Guzmán is especially hurt by his friend Samu's betrayal. Meanwhile, Benjamin's son Patrick Comerford begins driving a wedge in the relationship between Omar and Ander. Patrick takes a liking to Ander, and the couple eventually invite Patrick to join them in a threesome. Things then develop into a bit of a love triangle, as both Ander and Omar end up secretly hooking up with Patrick behind each other's backs. Omar and Ander then break up, and Omar starts skipping school to avoid seeing Ander and Patrick together. The third Comerford sibling, Mencia, has a strained relationship with her father Benjamin, who cuts her off financially. To make money, Mencia begins sleeping with a wealthy businessman named Armando. Mencia also begins dating Rebecca, who, upon learning of Mencia's arrangement with Armando, fears for her girlfriend's safety. Armando begins blackmailing Mencia, forcing her into an abusive relationship. Also in Season 4, Cayetana is attending a local free university while working as a janitor at Las Encinas. When Felipe, the Prince of Treason, begins attending Las Encinas, he and Cayetana quickly bond over their shared love of fashion. They begin a romantic relationship, but Cayetana is horrified when she discovers that Felipe had secretly recorded them having sex. Felipe explained that he had been falsely accused of sexual assault in the past, and that recording his sexual relationships was a way to prove consent if necessary. Cayetana believes Felipe and forgives him, but ultimately decides it would be best if they remained friends. One night after several drinks, Felipe attempts to have sex with Cayetana, who turns down his advances. Philippe ignores her rejections and begins restraining her to have his way with her. Eventually, Cayetana breaks free from Philippe's hold and runs away from him. The season comes to a head at a New Year's Eve party hosted by Prince Philippe and his mother. Cayetana confronts the mother and son, calling out Philippe's behavior and his mother's enabling ways. Feeling guilty, Philippe sends a voice memo to the girl he had previously assaulted, apologizing and ready to face the consequences for his actions. Meanwhile, Armando arrives at the party and confronts Mencia, wanting to see her and unwilling to take no for an answer. Rebecca and Ari witness the confrontation and rush to Mencia's aid. Rebecca helps Mencia escape from her abuser, but Ari stays behind to further confront Armando. She threatens to expose him for his abuse, leading to Armando attacking her. When Guzmán later arrives and finds a beaten Ari, she tells him to go after the violent Armando. Guzmán chases Armando into a boathouse where the two fight, and Guzmán eventually kills Armando with a flare gun. Guzmán is distraught over killing someone and wants to turn himself into the authorities. But Samu and Rebecca convince him not to and help Guzmán dispose of Armando's body by dumping it in the lake. Guzmán visits Ari in the hospital and tells her that Armando had escaped. He also tells her that she truly loves Samu and offers his blessing before telling her goodbye. Guzmán decides the best thing for him to do to get over the trauma from killing Armando is to finally travel the world with his best friend Ander, as they had long planned to do. Before their departure, as all of their friends gather to see them off, Ander and Omar reconcile, with Omar promising Ander that he'd be waiting for him until he returned. As the season comes to a close, Ari sits by Mencia's side as she finally tells Benjamin and Patrick about Armando. Despite her father and brother's anger at the revelations, Mencia is comforted to have her sister by her side. In Season 5 of Elite, the students of Las Encinas are still reeling over the death and cover-up of the villainous Armando. School principal Benjamin begins implementing strict new policies to keep the students in line, including tracking their phones and forcing them to take drug tests. When the students refuse, they are all forced to vote for one of their classmates to be expelled. Ultimately, Samu receives the most votes, but luckily is only expelled for 3 days. Things get worse for Samu when Armando's body is found by Omar and his new friend Bilal. Samu and Rebecca explain to Omar that Guzmán had killed Armando in self-defense, and that they had then helped him dispose of the body. Omar convinces them to call the police and confess their crimes. The wealthy Benjamin then promises to pay for Samu's legal fees and make sure he is financially set for life if he confessed to Armando's murder, which Samu reluctantly does. As Samu deals with the investigation, his girlfriend Ari begins to feel neglected and drunkenly hooks up with a new Las Encinas student named Ivan. Ivan is the son of professional football player Cruz, and also happened to be the crush of Ari's twin brother Patrick. Ivan rebuffs Patrick's advances, telling him he wasn't gay. Eventually, Patrick turns to Cruz for comfort, and the two share a kiss. When Ivan finally confesses his true feelings for Patrick and the two begin a romance, Patrick finds himself caught in a love triangle between a father and a son. Eventually, Ivan and Cruz forgive each other for their romantic entanglements, and Ivan resolves to finally pursue a relationship with Patrick. Meanwhile, Prince Philippe's confession of his past acts of sexual assault go public. While he faces immense public scrutiny, Cayetana supports him and encourages him to continue owning his mistakes, and to learn and grow from them. Cayetana also realizes she's ready to move on from Las Encinas and follow her own dreams. Unfortunately, Philippe then befriends a new student named Isadora, who encourages his use of drugs and alcohol. As Isadora's behavior becomes increasingly self-destructive, Philippe finally cuts ties with her. To get away from their problems, Isadora and Ivan take a trip to Ibiza with 3 other students. Philippe follows them there, and after a night of partying, Philippe and Ivan pass out while the other students record themselves taking advantage of and assaulting Isadora. Philippe is racked with guilt over not being able to protect Isadora and supports her as she goes to the police to report the crime. Meanwhile, Benjamin decides to not hold up his end of the arrangement with Samu and refuses to pay his bail. Ivan and Cruz help the other students to raise money to help Samu, who then makes a deal with the police to find evidence connecting Benjamin and Armando. It turns out Benjamin and Armando were former friends and business partners. Benjamin's company had collected data on the world's richest and most influential people, and before his death, Armando tried to blackmail him into selling the data. Benjamin, fearful this blackmail could link him to Armando's murder, was determined to hide or destroy all of the evidence. Mencia finds a SIM card in a phone given to her by Armando that contained data linking the criminal to Benjamin. Mencia is reluctant to turn over the data, which would incriminate incriminate her father. Rebecca, wanting to help Samu, takes the SIM card from Mencia, which fractures their romantic relationship. As the season comes to a close, Benjamin confronts Samu before he can turn the SIM card over to the police. As the two men struggle over the card, Samu slips and cracks his head open, eventually dying of blood loss. When Patrick returns home and discovers the accident, Benjamin asks his son for help in covering up Samu's death. Instead, Patrick turns on his father and calls over Omar, Rebecca, Ari, and Mencia. Benjamin's children condemn their father's actions and report him to the police, leading to his arrest. The classmates are devastated over Samu's death, and the future of Patrick, Ari, and Mencia, now that their father has been arrested, remains a mystery. In Season 6 of Elite, Ari, Mencia, and Patrick return to Las Encinas for their final year of school, though the villainous legacy of their father hangs over them. As Ari and Mencia struggle to adjust to their new reality, Patrick is optimistic of his senior year, thanks in large part to him and Ivan making their relationship official. But things will soon get complicated once again, as flash forwards reveal that Ivan will be hit by a car in an intentional hit and run. In the present, Mencia develops feelings for a new student named Sarah. After discovering that Sarah has an abusive boyfriend named Raul, Mencia helps her find the strength to stand up for herself and break up with Raul for good. Ari is still struggling over the death of Samu and the arrest of her father Benjamin. As she falls into alcoholism, she develops feelings for a new trans student named Nico. Ari struggles to accept Nico's identity, putting a strain on the burgeoning relationship, and ends up hooking up with Bilal. Bilal has long harbored a crush on Ari, but upon realizing that she will never want to be with him, Bilal pursues a romance with new girl Rosia instead. Meanwhile, Isadora opens a new club, House of Isadora, but is still struggling with the trauma from her assault. One of Isadora's employees, Didac, is in love with her and goes about ensuring her abusers Javi, Hugo, and Alex receive proper punishment. Didac has chosen to forsake his own shady family, who are business rivals with Isadora's family, making any love between Didac and Isadora forbidden. Despite this, Didac becomes a good friend to Isadora and records his former friend Javi confessing to the assault. Unfortunately, the police can't use the illegal recording as evidence, and so Isadora and her friends take justice into their own hands, publicly shaming and humiliating Javi, Hugo, and Alex. Didac finally gets through to his old friend Javi and convinces him to atone for his actions. Javi rats out Hugo and Alex to the police before confessing to his own guilt in Isadora's assault. Meanwhile, despite the relationship of Ivan and Patrick still going strong, Patrick kisses his boyfriend's father Cruz at a party. Ivan forgives Patrick, but video footage of the kiss goes public, forcing the renowned athlete Cruz to publicly come out. Cruz is then violently harassed due to intense homophobia before being killed. A grieving Ivan blames Patrick for his father's death and the two break up. Ivan then hooks up with a similarly grieving Ari, who gets pregnant with his baby. Everything comes to a head at a party at Isadora's club. Raul arrives to take back Sarah and get revenge on Mencia for helping her work up the nerve to leave him. Raul drugs Mencia's drink, though she is unaware of this act. As Ivan leaves the party to find and reconcile with Patrick, a drunken Ari also stumbles away. Worried for her sister, Mencia follows Ari just as the drugs begin to kick in. Mencia wakes up inside a crashed car with no memory of the night before, and then learns that Ivan is in critical condition after being struck by a car. Realizing she must be responsible, Mencia and Ari burn the car and devise a plan to avoid arrest. Ari convinces Mencia to testify on behalf of their father, resulting in Benjamin being released from prison. Ari, Mencia, and Patrick then leave Madrid with their father, ready to start a new life away from Las Encinas. But it turns out that Sarah was actually the driver of the car. After noticing that Mencia had been drugged, Sarah took the wheel in order to get her friend home safely. After accidentally running over Ivan, the manipulative Raul convinced her to frame Mencia for the crime instead. As the season comes to a close, an unknown shooter opens fire on Isadora, Didac, and his brother Pau, leaving their fates unknown.